Mario Lanza was an American tenor, actor, and Hollywood movie star of the late 1940s and the 1950s. Lanza began studying to be a professional singer at the age of 16. After appearing at the Hollywood Bowl in 1947, Lanza signed a 7-year film contract with Louis B. Mayer, the head of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, who saw his performance and was impressed by his singing. Prior to this, the adult Lanza had sung only 2 performances of an opera. The following year, however, he would sing the role of Pinkerton in Puccini's Madama Butterfly in New Orleans. His movie debut was in The Midnight Kiss with Kathryn Grayson and Ethel Barrymore. The following year, in The Toast of New Orleans, his featured popular song Be My Love became his first million-selling hit. In 1951, he played the role of Enrico Caruso, his tenor idol, in the biopic, The Great Caruso, which produced another million-seller with The Loveliest Night of the Year. The Great Caruso was the top-grossing film that year. The title song of his next film, Because You're Mine, was his final million-selling hit song. The song went on to receive an Academy Award nomination for Best Original Song. After recording the soundtrack for his next film, The Student Prince, he embarked upon a protracted battle with studio head Door Scary arising from artistic differences with director Curtis Bernhardt, and was eventually dismissed by MGM. Lanza was known to be rebellious, tough, and ambitious, and during most of his film career, he suffered from addictions to overeating and alcohol, which had a serious effect on his health and his relationships with directors, producers and, occasionally, other cast members. Hollywood columnist Hedda Hopper writes that his smile, which was as big as his voice, was matched with the habits of a tiger cub, impossible to housebreak. She adds that he was the last of the great romantic performers. He made 3 more films before dying of an apparent pulmonary embolism at the age of 38. At the time of his death in 1959 he was still the most famous tenor in the world. Author Elian Ricamel concludes that Lanza blazed like a meteor whose light lasts a brief moment in time. Early years: born Alfredo Arnold Cocozza in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, he was exposed to classical singing at an early age by his Abruzzese-Molzan Italian parents. Maria Lanza was from the town of Tocco da Caseria, province of Pescara in the region of Abruzzo, and Antonio Cocozza, who was from the town of Filignano, a province of Isernia in the region of Molise. By the age of 16, his vocal talent had become apparent. Starting out in local operatic productions in Philadelphia for the YMCA Opera Company while still in his teens, he later came to the attention of longtime principal Boston Symphony conductor Serge Kowalszewski, who in 1942 provided young Cocozza with a full student scholarship to the Berkshire Music Center at Tanglewood, Massachusetts. Reportedly, Kowalszewski would later tell him, "Yours is a voice such as is heard once in 100 years." Opera career: his opera debut, as Fenton in Otto Nicolai's The Merry Wives of Windsor, came at the Berkshire Music Festival in Tanglewood on August 7, 1942, after a period of study with conductors Boris Goldovsky and Leonard Bernstein. This was when Cocozza adopted the stage name Mario Lanza, for its similarity to his Muth-era Euro-unregistered trademark S maiden name, Maria Lanza. His performances at Tanglewood won him critical acclaim, with Noel Strauss of the New York Times hailing the 21-year-old tenor as having few equals among tenors of the day in terms of quality, warmth and power. Herbert Graf subsequently wrote in Opera News, "A real find of the season was Mario Lanza. He would have no difficulty one day being asked to join the Metropolitan Opera." Lanza sang Nicolai's Fenton twice at Tanglewood, in addition to appearing there in a one-off presentation of Act 3 of Puccini's La Boheme with the noted Mexican soprano Irma Gonzalez, baritone James Pease and mezzo-soprano Laura Castellano. Music critic J.C. Rosenfeld wrote in the New York Times of August 9, 1942, Irma Gonzalez as Mima and Mario Lanza as Rodolfo were conspicuous by the beauty of their voices and the vividness of their characterizations. In an interview shortly before her own death in 2008, Gonzalez recalled that Lanza was very correct, likable, with a powerful and beautiful voice. His budding operatic career was interrupted by World War II, when he was assigned to special services in the U.S. Army Air Corps. He appeared in the wartime shows On the Beam and Winged Victory. He also appeared in the film version of the latter. He resumed his singing career with a concert in Atlantic City with the NBC Symphony Orchestra in September 1945 under Peter Hermann Adler, subsequently his mentor. The following month, he replaced tenor Jan Park on the live CBS radio program Great Moments in Music, on which he made 6 appearances in 4 months, singing extracts from various operas and other works. He studied with Enrico Rosati for 15 months, and then embarked on an 86-concert tour of the United States, Canada and Mexico between July 1947 and May 1948 with bass George London and soprano Frances Yende. Reviewing his second appearance at Chicago's Grant Park in July 1947 in the Chicago Sunday Tribune, Claudia Cassidy praised Lanza's superbly natural tenor, and observed that though a multitude of fine points evade him, he possesses the things almost impossible to learn. He knows the accent that makes a lyric line reach its audience, and he knows why opera is music drama. In April 1948, Lanza sang 2 performances as Pinkerton in Puccini's Madama Butterfly for the New Orleans Opera Association conducted by Walter Herbert with stage director Armando Agnini. Reviewing the opening night performance in the Street of Louis News, Lawrence Odell wrote, "Mario Lanza performed Lieutenant Pinkerton with considerable verve and dash. Rarely have we seen a more superbly romantic leading tenor. His exceptionally beautiful voice helps immeasurably." Following the success of these performances, he was invited to return to New Orleans in 1949 as Alfredo in Verdi's La Traviata. But, as biographer Armando Cesari wrote, Lanza by 1949 was already deeply engulfed in the Hollywood machinery and consequently never learned that key mid-Verdi tenor role. At the time of his death, Lanza was preparing to return to the operatic stage. Conductor Peter Hermann Adler, with whom Lanza had previously worked both in concert and on the soundtrack of The Great Caruso, visited the tenor in Rome during the summer of 1959 and later recalled that Lanza was working 2 hours a day with an operatic coach, and intended to go back to opera, his only true love. Adler promised the tenor all possible help in his planning for his operatic future. In the October 14, 1959, edition of Variety, it was reported that Lanza had planned to make his return to opera in the role of Canio in Leoncavallo's Pagliacci during the Rome Opera's 1960-61 season. This was subsequently confirmed by Riccardo Vitali, artistic director of the Rome Opera. Variety also noted that preparations had been underway at the time of Lanza's death for him to participate in recording a series of complete operas for Ars Italiana. Film career. A concert at the Hollywood Bowl in August 1947 had brought Lanza to the attention of Louis B. Mayer, who promptly signed Lanza to a 7-year film contract with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. This proved to be a turning point in the young singer's career. The contract required him to commit to the studio for 6 months, and at first Lanza believed he would be able to combine his film career with his operatic and concert one. In May 1949, he made his first commercial recordings with R.C.A. Victor. His rendition of the aria C'è Gelida Manina from that session was subsequently awarded the prize of Operatic Recording of the Year by the National Record Critics Association. The Toast of New Orleans, Lanza's first 2 starring films, That Midnight Kiss and The Toast of New Orleans, both opposite top-billed Kathryn Grayson, were commercial successes, and in 1950 his recording of Be My Love from the latter became the first of 3 million-selling singles for the young singer, earning him enormous fame in the process. While at MGM, Lanza worked closely with the Academy Award-winning conductor, composer, and arranger Johnny Green. In a 1977 interview with Lanza biographer Armando Cesari, Green recalled that the tenor was insecure about the manner in which he had become successful, and was keenly aware of the fact that he had become a Hollywood star before first having established himself on the operatic stage. Had Lanza been already a leading tenor, if not the leading tenor at the Metropolitan Opera House, and come to Hollywood in between seasons to make a picture, he would have had the security of having the Met as his home, Green remarked. According to Green, Lanza possessed the voice of the next Caruso. Lanza had an unusual, very unusual quality. A tenor with a baritone color in the middle and lower registers, and a great feeling for the making of music. A great musicality. I found it fascinating, musically, to work with him. The Great Caruso. In 1951, Lanza portrayed Enrico Caruso in The Great Caruso, which proved an astonishing success, though it did not adhere strictly to the facts of Caruso's life. At the same time, Lanza's increasing popularity exposed him to intense criticism by some music critics, including those who had praised his work years earlier. His performance earned him compliments from the subject's son, Enrico Caruso Jr., a tenor in his own right. Shortly before his own death in 1987, Enrico Jr. wrote in Enrico Caruso, "My father and my family that, I can think of no other tenor, before or since Mario Lanza, who could have risen with comparable success to the challenge of playing Caruso in a screen biography." Lanza was born with one of the dozen or so great tenor voices of the century, with a natural voice placement, an unmistakable and very pleasing timbre, and a nearly infallible musical instinct. He went on to praise Lanza's tempi and phrasing, flawless diction, and impassioned delivery, adding that, "all are qualities that few singers are born with and others can never attain." In conclusion, he wrote that, Lanza excelled in both the classical and the light popular repertory, an accomplishment that was beyond even my father's exceptional talents. The Student Prince. In 1952, Lanza was dismissed by MGM after he had pre-recorded the songs for The Student Prince. The reason most frequently cited in the tabloid press at the time was that his recurring weight problem had made it impossible for him to fit into the costumes of the prince. However, as his biographers Cesare and Mannering have established, Lanza was not overweight at the beginning of the production, and it was, in fact, a disagreement with director Curtis Bernhardt over Lanza's singing of one of the songs in the film that led to Lanza walking off the set. MGM refused to replace Bernhardt, and the film was subsequently made with actor Edmund Poda miming to Lanza's voice. Ironically, the eventual director of the film was Richard Thorpe, the same man whom Lanza had pleaded with MGM to replace Bernhardt, and with whom the tenor had enjoyed an excellent working relationship in The Great Caruso. Depressed by his dismissal, and with his self-confidence severely undermined, Lanza became a virtual recluse for more than a year, frequently seeking refuge in alcoholic binges. During this period, Lanza also came very close to bankruptcy as a result of poor investment decisions by his former manager, and his lavish spending habits left him owing about $250,000 in back taxes to the IRS. Serenade. Lanza returned to an active film career in 1955 in Serenade, released by Warner Brothers. However, the film was not as successful as his previous films, despite its strong musical content, including arias from Der Rosenkavalier, Fedora, Liliziana, and Otello, as well as the Act III duet from Otello with soprano Liza Albanese. Ms. Albanese said of Lanza in 1980, "I had heard all sorts of stories about Mario, Lanza. That his voice was too small for the stage, that he couldn't learn a score, that he couldn't sustain a full opera. In fact, that he couldn't even sing a full aria, that his recordings were made by splicing together various portions of an aria. None of it is true. He had the most beautiful Lyrico Spinto voice. It was a gorgeous, beautiful, powerful voice. I should know because I sang with so many tenors. He had everything that one needs. The voice, the temperament, perfect diction. Vocally he was very secure. All he needed was coaching. Everything was so easy for him. He was fantastic." He then moved to Rome, Italy in May 1957, where he worked on the film Seven Hills of Rome, and returned to live performing in November of that year, singing for Queen Elizabeth II at the Royal Variety Show at the London Palladium. From January to April 1958, Lanza gave a concert tour of the UK, Belgium, the Netherlands, France and Germany. He gave a total of 22 concerts on this tour, receiving mostly positive reviews for his singing. Despite a number of cancellations, which resulted from his failing health during this period, Lanza continued to receive offers for operatic appearances, concerts, and films. In September 1958, he made a number of operatic recordings at the Rome Opera House for the soundtrack of what would turn out to be his final film, For the First Time. It was then that he came to the attention of that opera house's artistic director, Riccardo Vitali, who promptly offered the tenor carte blanche in his choice of operatic roles. Lanza also received offers to sing in any opera of his choosing from the San Carlo in Naples. At the same time, however, his health continued to decline, with the tenor suffering from a variety of ailments, including phlebitis and acute high blood pressure. His old habits of overeating and crash dieting, coupled with binge drinking, compounded his problems. On the Story of Variety with Michael Grade, it was alleged that Lanza was often violent and suffered hallucinations when intoxicated. Death. In April 1959, Lanza reportedly suffered a minor heart attack followed in August by double pneumonia. On September 25, 1959, he entered Rome's Via Giulia clinic for the purpose of losing weight for an upcoming film. While in the clinic, he underwent a controversial weight loss program colloquially known as the twilight sleep treatment, which required its patients to be kept immobile and sedated for prolonged periods. On October 7, a day before his scheduled discharge, he died suddenly at the age of 38. No autopsy was performed, but it has been speculated that the phlebitis in his left leg that Lanza was suffering from at the time may have led to a fatal pulmonary embolism. A massive heart attack was another distinct possibility due to Lanza's history of hypertension. He was buried at the Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City, California. At his funeral were singers Maria Caniglia and Lydia Nerozzi and actors Franco Fabrizi and Enzo Fiammanti. American crooner Frank Sinatra sent his condolences by telegram. Betty, his widow, returned to Hollywood with their 4 children but died 5 months later at the age of 37. Cesare cited the apparent cause of her death, according to the coroner, as asphyxiation resulting from a respiratory ailment for which he had been receiving medication. In 1991, Mark, their youngest child, died of a heart attack at 37. 6 years later, Colleen, their elder daughter, was killed at 48 after being struck by 2 passing vehicles on a highway. Damon, the couple's 3rd child and elder son, died in August 2008 of a heart attack at 55. The last remaining child in the family and youngest daughter, Eliza, survives her siblings. Legacy. Lanza's brief career covered opera, concerts, recordings, television and motion pictures. He was the first RCA Victor Red Seal artist to win a gold disc and the first artist to sell 2.5 million albums. This highly influential performer has been credited with inspiring successive generations of other opera singers, including Placido Domingo, Luciano Pavarotti, Leo Nucci and José Copyright Carreras. Singers with seemingly different backgrounds and influences were also inspired by him, even including his RCA Victor label mate Elvis Presley. Lanza was referred to by some sources as the new Caruso after his instant success in Hollywood films, while MGM hoped he would become the movie studio's singing Clark Gable for his good looks and powerful voice. In 1994, outstanding tenor José Copyright Carreras paid tribute to Lanza during a worldwide concert tour, saying of him, "If I'm an opera singer, it's thanks to Mario Lanza." His equally outstanding colleague Placido Domingo echoed these comments in a 2009 CBS interview with, "Lanza's passion and the way his voice sounds are what made me sing opera. I actually owe my love for opera to a kid from Philadelphia." Even today the magnitude of his contribution to popular music is still hotly debated, and because he appeared on the operatic stage only twice, many critics feel that he needed to have had more operatic quality time in major theaters before he could be considered a star of that art form. His films, especially The Great Caruso, influenced numerous future opera stars, including Joseph Corleggia, José Copyright Carreras, Placido Domingo and Luciano Pavarotti. According to opera historian Clyde Mackens, of all the Hollywood singers who performed operatic music, the one who made the greatest impact was Mario Lanza. Hollywood gossip columnist Hedda Hopper concluded that there had never been anyone like Mario, and I doubt whether we shall ever see his like again. Portrayal on stage. In October 2007, Charles Messina directed the big-budget musical Be My Love, the Mario Lanza story, written by Richard Vitor, about Lanza's life, which was produced by Sonny Grosso and Phil Ramon. It premiered at the Tilles Center for the Performing Arts in Greenville, New York. Legacy. The persona and music of Mario Lanza are featured in the 1994 Peter Jackson film Heavenly Creatures. Miljenko Jurgovia mentions Lanza in his Dvori Oda Ruha novel of 2003 as a part of story about Luka Sakirik. Mario Lanza Boulevard is a roadway in the Eastwick section of Lanza's native Philadelphia, close to Philadelphia International Airport and ending on the grounds of the John Hines National Wildlife Refuge. The Mario Lanza Institute and Museum, which honors Lanza's legacy and also provides scholarships to young singers, is located at 712 Montrose Street in South Philadelphia. Link label. Philadelphia's Queen Street Park was renamed for Lanza in 1967. Link label. Lanza was born at 636 Christian Street in South Philadelphia. A Pennsylvania Historical Museum commission marker stands outside of the house. A large mural dedicated to Lanza stands at Broad and Reed Streets in Philadelphia. In 1983, a 90-minute PBS documentary, Mario Lanza, The American Caruso, hosted by Placido Domingo and featuring Lanza's family and professional associates, was nominated for a Primetime Emmy as Outstanding Informational Special. In 1998, a Golden Palm Star on the Palm Springs, California, Walk of Stars was dedicated to him. Mario Lanza has been awarded 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a star for recording at 1751 Vine Street, and a star at 6821 Hollywood Boulevard for motion pictures. Filmography: Winged Victory, 20th Century Fox 1944, That Midnight Kiss, MGM 1949, The Toast of New Orleans, MGM 1950, The Great Caruso, MGM 1951, Because You're Mine, MGM 1952, The Student Prince, MGM 1954, Serenade, Warner Brothers 1956, Seven Hills of Rome, MGM 1958, For the First Time, MGM 1959 box office ranking. At the height of his career, Lanza was voted by exhibitors as being among the most popular stars in the country, 1951 a Euro 13th most popular. 10th 1952 a Euro 23rd, 6th, select recordings on CD. Mario Lanza, the legendary tenor, Christmas with Mario Lanza, The Great Caruso and other Caruso favorites. Mario Lanza sings songs from The Student Prince and The Desert Song, The Mario Lanza Collection, Mario Lanza Live from London, Mario Lanza at his best, Mario Lanza, opera arias and duets, Mario Lanza Live at Hollywood Bowl, historical recordings, Serenade a cavalcade of show tunes, The Essential Mario Lanza, references. Further reading, Studwell, William E. Mario Lanza. In the Italian-American Experience, an Encyclopedia, ed. Salvatore J. Lagumina 332 a Euro 33. Lanza, Damon and Dolphy, Bob. Be My Love, A Celebration of Mario Lanza. Chicago, Illinois, 1999. ISBN 1-56625-129-X. Mannering, Derek. Mario Lanza. A Biography. London, Hale 1991. Strait, Raymond and Robinson, Terry. Lanza, His Tragic Life. Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, Prentice Hall, 1980. Bernard, Matt. Mario Lanza. New York, McFadden Bartle, 1971. Korlinakos, Constantine. The Mario Lanza Story, New York, New York, 1960. Library of Congress Catalog Card Number 60-12480. Bissett, Roland L. Mario Lanza, Tenor in Exile. Portland, OR. ISBN 1-57467-044-1. External links, Mario Lanza, Tenor Euro Essays, Videos, Rare Recordings, Discography and Forum. Mario Lanza Biography at Opera Viva, The Lanza Legend, Mario Lanza at the Internet Movie Database, Mario Lanza at the Internet Broadway Database. Mario Lanza discography at Discogs, MarioLanza.net hosted by Jeff Rentz. History of the tenor Euro sound clips and narration, 3.